Good afternoon, friends. Good afternoon, students. Welcome you all for the online class series of 9th General Science. To end up with the chapter, yesterday we have studied all the techniques which are required for separation of different type of mixtures. Now today we are going to talk about what is the difference between a pure substance and an impure substance or a mixture. So when we are talking about this, we should first know what are two types of changes, that is what is a physical change and what is a chemical change. Physical and chemical change. So when we are talking about the physical and chemical change, a physical change is a change which can be very easily visualized or which can be very easily observed, like those changes which can be very easily observed, such as color, change in color, odor and state, and various other type of such changes which can be very easily visualized. They are said to be physical changes. Like in the previous chapter, that is chapter number 1, we have talked about the interconversion of different states of matter, and we have looked up, for example, that is ice, which is present in the solid state. When it is provided up with temperature, it gets converted into the liquid state, that is the water, which is liquid by nature. And when we further provide it with more amount of temperature, it gets converted into vapors, that is it is a gaseous state. And vice versa, if vapors, they are kept under higher pressure, then they are converted into liquids, and when liquids, they are converted when they are put under high pressure, they are converted into solids. That is what we have seen in the example of the formation of the dry ice in the previous video. So in all these cases, ice, which is a solid, and water, which is a liquid, and vapors, which is a gas, all these three, they occur in different states, means they are occurring differently, and we can very easily see these changes, but the very composition of them is similar. That is, ice is also made up of H2O, that is water. Again, water, which is a liquid, it is also made up of H2O, and vapors, they are also formed of H2O. That means during the interconversion of different states of matter, no change in their chemical composition occurs. Hence, they are categorized under physical changes. Now, when we are talking about chemical changes, chemical changes are those changes in which a change in the chemical composition of the new substance formed takes place. That is, it is going to possess different properties than its own parental material. That is what happens, that when two or more substances, when they react with each other, reaction can be any type. It can be either addition reaction, it can be either a decomposition reaction, it can be like a displacement reaction, it can be any sort of reaction. So whenever two or more substances, they interact with one another, they form new substances, and during this process, formation of the new bonds and breaking up the old bonds takes place, and hence new substances are formed as products, and this product it is going to possess entirely different properties than the original ones or than the reactants. For example, H2 plus O2. H2 occurs in, it is a gas, H2 is hydrogen. Again, oxygen, it is also a gas. When both of these combines, they form H2O, which is a liquid, that is water. So, this water, it is going to possess entirely different properties than oxygen and then hydrogen. So, this reaction that, or this process that has taken place over here is always going to be categorized under chemical changes. So, now from this, it is very much clear what is a physical change and what is a chemical change. Another example that we can take is burning up of the candle. When we lit up the candle, what happens? We see that the wax of which it is made up of starts melting up. The melting up of the wax is a physical change. But when we are seeing, on another hand, that since the wax is burning up, it is being converted into carbon also. A large amount of the carbon dioxide is also being produced. So, what is happening? Here a chemical change is taking place. So, burning of candle is both a physical change as well as a chemical change. So, here we end up with this topic, that is what is a physical change and what is a chemical change, and by this we can very easily understand that whether a matter that is given to us is a pure matter or whether it is a mixture. Now, talking about categories of mixtures, another topic is what are elements and what are compounds. When we are talking about elements, elements are those substances which cannot be further separated into its component parts by any of the chemical methods or chemical changes or chemical procedures. So, these are elements. For example, hydrogen, which is a gas. The elemental form of hydrogen is H2. Oxygen, which is again a gas, it occurs in the form of O2. Then when we are talking about nitrogen, it is again N2 and so on. So these are all the examples of varied type of elements. Now these elements, they are categorized into three categories. That is the metals, the metalloids and the non-metals. Now when we are talking about the metals, metals are those substances which do possess malleability. They possess malleability. That is, they can be very easily beaten up into sheets. Now, they possess ductility. That is, they can be very easily drawn out into wires. That is the very basic reason gold and silver metals, they are used for making up ornaments of different shape, size and forms. Then third, they conduct electricity. most of the metals, they are very good conductors of electricity as well as heat also. Now fourth point, they are sonorous. When I am talking about sonorosity, sonorous means they produce a ringing sound when we hit them hard. Fifth point, they are generally solid in nature. Next point, they are lustrous. The word lustrous means they do possess a shining surface. Every metal do possess a shining surface. Then seventh point. What is the seventh point? They may possess certain coloration of its own, like gold, like silver, like iron. It is grey in color. Gold, it is golden in color. Silver, it is having a silvery color. So these are all, they possess color. So these are all the characteristic properties of metals. Of course, they even possess high melting and boiling points. They possess high MP and BP, that is high melting and boiling points. On contrast to this, when we are talking about the non-metals, they are not malleable. They are not malleable, means they cannot be very easily beaten up into thin sheets. Then second, they are not ductile. Third, they do not conduct electricity. Fourth, they are not sonorous. Fifth, they may be solid, they may be liquid, or they may be gaseous. They may be solid, liquid, or gaseous by nature. Then they do not possess luster, that is, they are not lustrous. Then seventh, that they have low MP, that is melting and boiling point. Now when we are talking about the metalloids, what are metalloids? Metalloids are those substances which are neither the metals nor they are the non-metals, but they do possess properties of both these. Means metalloids are those substances which contain properties of both the metals as well as the non-metals. Those elements which possess the properties of metals as well as non-metals. So here this is all about elements. Majority of the elements that occur in the nature, they are basically metals, and the rest are non-metals and metalloids. Now, what are compounds? When we are talking about compounds, compounds are those substances which are made up of one or more elements which are present in a fixed ratio. Those substances which are made up of more than of two or more than two elements combined in a fixed ratio. Supposedly in the previous our examples I have given that H2 plus O2, it is going to form H2O. So here in a water molecule, hydrogen and oxygen, they are combining in a fixed ratio, that is two atoms of hydrogen are combining with only one atom of oxygen. Here again C plus O2, it is going to form what? CO2. That is one atom of carbon, it is going to get combined with two atoms of oxygen. How does this occur? We are going to talk in our next classes. Now today we end up with the chapter. In the next class we are going to talk about the another chapter, that is of biology sub-branch, and that is dealing up with cell, that is the fundamental unit of life. Thank you.